Donald Trump just had a very bizarre moment on stage during his town hall with Kristi Noem, and let's jump right in. This reads, wow, this was weird. Trump wrapped up his town hall in Oaks, Pennsylvania after just a few questions, and right after he said he would take a few more questions, more music then played while Trump stood around on stage. Deeply bizarre scenes, and people on Twitter are speculating as to why Donald Trump just stands around for a few minutes in an awkward way. People are waiting to ask him more questions. Then he just leaves. Make sure you stick around till the end because we talk about his medical records or lack thereof and how that could impact the 2024 presidential race. But let's jump in with this clip right here.
Open, that feels good.
It does.
I feel it right now. I don't know who's out there trying to get in, but you know what I feel? Doesn't that feel nice?
Yes.
And you don't even have, there's nothing like outdoors. You don't even have the cost of an air conditioner if they have them in this beautiful factory. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yep. Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said.
Trump just said, what song are you talking about? Kristi Noem asks, do you want to play your song? Trump says, what song are you talking about? Kristi Noem says, well, you said you wanted to play a song, implying that Trump forgot a conversation he had earlier.
Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yep. Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said you wanted to close with a specific song.
Okay,
or
let's do a couple of
two more fast questions.
So, Justin, how about a couple of really beauties, and we'll sit down, relax. Let me just give you the bottom line, though. We win Pennsylvania. We win this great Commonwealth. We are going to win the whole ball game. It's such an important place, and we relate. And we are up in the polls fairly nicely.
He's kind of swaying around in an odd way, and Kristi Noem is kind of talking to him like he's a little puppy. She's like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to continue, sir?
And we're going to turn this country around. It's the greatest movement in the history of our country, MAGA, Make America Great Again. When Biden would go on, he used to go on, say, we will stop MAGA. We will stop, remember with the purple background, the pink and purple? He looked like the devil, right? But she's worse than him, remember it. But they would say, we're going to stop MAGA. MAGA means Make America Great
again.
I mean, what are you going to stop? And we are indeed going to make America great again. America has never, we're a declining nation right now.
Rambling, yapping old man, but here he just stands around with his fist up. I'm going to turn down the volume so this video doesn't get taken down, but they play music for a bit while Trump just oddly stands around. Just watch it. It's almost even better without the music. Why is he just leaning forward like that? People in the background are chatting while Trump just stands there. I'll play it for 1 second. It's just such a weird vibe. What is going on here? And then people are expecting more questions, and Trump just walks off and leaves. Stick around till the end of the video. I want to show you a few clips from Donald Trump's Pennsylvania town hall with Kristi Noem tonight because boy are they embarrassing. And they come at a time when people have been raising concerns about Donald Trump's physical health, about his cognitive capacity, and about his ability to run the country into his early 80s. I mean, we know that he's unfit, but this town hall tonight made it abundantly unclear that Donald Trump is rapidly deteriorating in front of our eyes. We also have 230 doctors that came out asking Donald Trump to release a cognitive exam. He has refused to do the 60 Minutes interview. He has refused to release a cognitive or physical exam, and that is raising alarm bells. I want to break down in this video comprehensively the argument as to why Donald Trump is not only too old to run, that one is easy to make, but why he is too narcissistic, why that is compounded by his age, and why he may have some physical problems that are holding him back. We have some reports that he's been visiting the doctor's office frequently, more frequently than he should. So with 22 days to go, we have no time to waste. Make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe, comment some blue hearts if you appreciate this, and I want to break down why exactly Donald Trump is not fit to run for the candidacy. I mean, it's very, very obvious, but I'm talking physically and mentally. Let's start off with this clip of Kristi Noem on stage in Pennsylvania talking about John Wayne. This lays the groundwork for everything. Watch.
Okay.
Sir,
Right?
I have a quote that I like a lot by John Wayne. It says, life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid.
Yeah.
I think that perfectly explains Kamala Harris, right?
Number one, she can't say Kamala's name right. Number two, she's saying that to the man who can't stop rambling about windmills, about sharks, about Hannibal Lecter, about whales, about everything that doesn't pertain to politics, everything that doesn't pertain to how can we help the American people. And also, shouldn't she be busy shooting dogs' heads off? Sorry, that was crazy.
Right, sir? Now, our life has been hard because of her, but can you imagine what it's like to wake up as Kamala Harris?
Wake up as a person who's leading in the polls to be the president of the United States, the leader of the free world? No, I could not imagine. Now, I want to put this in contrast with Tim Walz talking about Donald Trump and his cognitive record at a rally in Wisconsin today. We are a pro-democracy channel, so we are going to be boosting the pro-democracy candidates more. And if you're an American who loves democracy, you should stick around and watch this.
Over the weekend, Kamala Harris made it very clear on this. She's ready. She has been making this clear for a long time. She's ready to be commander-in-chief, and she released her medical records.
Yep.
Straight, clean bill of health. Physical, mental stamina to do the job. Now, I think you all know where I'm going with this, don't you? We're all wondering. Donald Trump said that he would release his numbers. He would release his medical records. Look. He says now, I think he forgot to do it. He's been forgetting things. We'll give him a break on this. But Kamala Harris is right on this. Watch his rallies. He's confused. He's a nearly 80-year-old man. He's ranting and rambling until people get bored and leave his rallies. That's happening.
Okay, so not only is everything that Tim Walz saying true, but also it is a brilliant political strategy to paint your enemy as somebody who is incompetent, a doddering old man, which is what Donald Trump is. And let me just say, in any normal reality, an almost 80-year-old candidate, I know that Trump is 78, but an almost 80-year-old candidate refusing to release their medical records, whether cognitive or physical, would be campaign ending, immediately campaign ending. But we live in this weird post-truth era where Donald Trump can do anything and then gaslight his supporters into thinking that Kamala Harris is the one that is stupid. Now, let's watch this clip of Donald Trump rambling on. He sounds incredibly uneducated when he's talking about stoves and gas and electric cars, but let's just listen.
So, great. Because small businesses are actually bigger than big businesses when you add them all up, and it's very important. And sounds like yours. I would love your food. I can tell by looking at that guy. I think I'd like to go over there. If I'm over there, I'm going to stop it. The fact is that, you know, they want to get away from gas. And I have friends, they're into the cooking world. I'm not. I just like to eat. But they're into the cooking. And I don't know how you feel. It sounds like they feel that gas is much better than the electric.
Notice how he refuses to ever sit down on the chairs they provide for him. We'll get more into that later and how that ties into his cognitive and physical decline.
Okay, right? And they have this thing about, you know, they want to put gas out of business, right? No gas. You know the amazing thing? We don't have electric in this country, but we have all the gas you can use. We have oil and gas. That's what we have. And even the cars, if you look, they want to go with all electric cars. California is having blackouts every week, brownouts, blackouts, and then they come up with rules and regulation to go to all electric, but they can't even supply what they have. It's so nuts. We're going to get, number one, your utility costs. You heard me say it before. Your costs will be down, and we're getting rid of all the
How, though? How are you going to take the costs down? He just says these platitudes. Someone in the reply said, this isn't even a stream of consciousness. This is a stream of subconsciousness. This man sounds so incredibly uneducated. And that brings us to his tweet today that shows a lot of what he's worried about. Anytime Donald Trump starts posting on social media relentlessly about a topic, it's usually because he's struggling with that topic. So, for example, he said today, I believe it is very important that Kamala Harris pass a test on cognitive stamina and agility. This is straight up gaslighting. This is like an abusive ex-girlfriend gaslighting you into thinking that you're the one that did something wrong. Her actions have led many to believe that there could be something very wrong with her. Even 60 Minutes and CBS, in order to protect lying Kamala, illegally and unscrupulously replaced an answer she had given, which was totally bonkers. In quotes, earlier I played a clip of Donald Trump where Maria Bartiromo spliced it in a very similar way, and you can hear the audio splice because that's a normal thing to do during a long interview, especially when you're interviewing a candidate who speaks for 2 to 3 minutes at a time, you're going to cut down that answer to 1 minute. That is very, very normal. Also, she is slow, says Donald Trump, and lethargic in answering even the easiest of questions. This is more projection. We've all seen Donald Trump try to speak about childcare, but this brings us on to some rumors that have been going on lately that have prompted more than 230 doctors and healthcare providers to call on Trump to release medical records. This happened today. This happened earlier today, October 14th, and I do want to play more clips from Donald Trump's town hall. Trust me, we have a lot more, but I think it's really important to read this really quickly. More than 230 doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals are calling on former President Trump to release his medical records, arguing that he should be transparent about his health, quote, given his advanced age. Trump is falling concerningly short of any standard of fitness for office and displaying alarming characteristics of declining acuity, to say the least. That is to say the least. And also, I want to be sensitive about this, but we do have reports, rumors that Donald Trump has been suffering from involuntary fecal discharge during his speeches. Listen to this very closely.
From commerce to labor to FEMA. From commerce to labor to FEMA.
You can hear it very clearly, and that happened repeatedly during his speech. We've seen Donald Trump a few years ago talking to Dianne Feinstein, rest in peace.
So today we're here in a bipartisan fashion to show leadership in an effort to end this senseless violence.
That is disgusting. Let me play it one more time and watch her reaction.
So today we're here in a bipartisan fashion to show leadership in an effort to...
You can hear it at the very beginning, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. Adam Kinzinger even says that Donald Trump's odor situation is not good.
As Hillary Clinton said, if you could be baited by a tweet, how are you supposed to be expected to handle Vladimir Putin and other authoritarians? And Donald Trump clearly got baited by your tweet and your post. But let's just start with your post. The odor, the stench, the stink. How bad is it? What do you know about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. I mean, think about the best way to describe it. I've tried to take armpits, ketchup, like a butt, and kind of put it in a blender, and makeup, and put that all in a blender. And and you bottle that as a cologne. That's kind of that. But it's amazing. I've been amazed that, everybody's just kind of learning about this now. But again, I think the bigger point is he's a weak human being. But look at this. He had his people respond to me on this. By the way, they're always unnamed spokesmen because none of them want to put their names, even though I think I know who's doing this. They don't want to put their names behind that.
It's probably Stephen Chung, but Adam Kinzinger makes a great observation here, and he knows he's been around Trump personally, and this ties into our broader point. Donald Trump smells terrible. He's always farting on stage.
And it's bad news. Bad things are happening. Mom, I'm sorry.
It was staring us in the face the whole time, Michael Cohen.
You understand when he's going Donald Von Shits and Pants. That's what he was doing. He was trying to figure out a way how he can sort of squeeze that sucker out, right? And he's going,
without anybody noticing. Now, I want to put this in stark contrast with VP Harris calling on Donald Trump again to release his medical records, and even beyond it being true that Donald Trump needs to release his medical records, it is unprecedented for a president not to, a candidate running for president not to. Kamala Harris is going with a really perfect cutthroat political strategy, literally just go for the jugular. My opponent is not only old, but he is incompetent and he refuses to release his medical records.
Right now. His staff won't let him do a 60 Minutes interview.
Yep.
Every president for the last half century has done one. Anyone who's running for president. Everyone has done it, except Donald Trump. He will not debate me again. I put out my medical records. He won't put out his medical records. And you have to ask, why is his staff doing that? And it may be because they think he's just not ready and unfit and unstable and should not have that level of transparency for the American people. There's a real choice in this election.
He is unfit and he is old. And people in the comments are going to say that I'm being ageist. I love President Biden. He has been an amazing legislator at his age. It's not only that Donald Trump's old, it's that he's also kind of dumb and narcissistic, and that has been compounded by his age. As he's gotten older, you can see his pattern of speaking gets more repetitious. He tries to sell himself more. He also just says stuff in a way more unhinged manner.
And you see her look at it and she's so disgusted by it, but watch, because he did it on her. Basically, watch this. Let's play the clip.
So today we're here in a bipartisan fashion to show leadership in an effort to end this senseless violence. It can be ended.
And then he did it with the president of Turkey's visit in the Oval Office. Erdogan, here, watch this. I'll show you some other data points there as well. But again, let's now take a look at Donald Trump's personal doctor. He's a gastro, and you see her look at.
As Ben points out, Donald Trump has repeatedly been to a specialized gastroenterologist for many, many years. And none of this is me saying this in jest or making fun of him. This is pointing out something that could stop him from being the president of the United States. Do I want somebody meeting with Putin and representing us like he did with Erdogan? No, not at all. Over 230 doctors noted that the presidential candidates traditionally disclose their medical records, including Arizona Senator John McCain, who did so during his 2008 presidential campaign. In his 2020 race against President Biden, Trump released results of his physical in the June before Election Day, but he has refused to this time around. What is he hiding? The letter noted that the absent detailed health records, quote, leave us extrapolating from public appearances, and as we watch these public appearances, we're not extrapolating anything good. Quote, as we all age, we lose sharpness and revert to base instincts. We are seeing that from Trump as he uses his rallies and appearances to ramble, meander, and crudely lash out at his many perceived grievances. The doctors wrote, let's return to Donald Trump's town hall today in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Let's see what he's talking about.
Pay the price they're going to, and it's a very bad thing that's happening. So they're coming in, many are coming in from jails and prisons and mental institutions, insane asylums. That's like, a step above, right? A insane asylum. And whenever I go, Hannibal Lecter, you know what I'm talking about. They always go the fake news. That's a lot of fake news back there, too. But
this man is obviously losing his mind. He just strung together 4 different points. He originally was talking about prices, literally 25 seconds ago. Then he started talking about immigration, then insane asylums, then Hannibal Lecter. Then he randomly just points at the media and gets the crowd to boo at the media for no reason. He just randomly did that.
They always mention, it's a way of demeaning. They just say, Hannibal Lecter, why would he mention? Well, you know why? Because he was a sick puppy, and we have sick puppies coming into our country. I figure that's better than wasting a lot of words.
I've explained this a few times, but we all know that Donald Trump is playing games of word association when he's speaking. He calls it weaving, but he's clearly just pulling words out of thin air. And when he's talking about insane asylums, we genuinely think he's confusing the word asylum with the other meaning. So when I look up the word asylum here, we have 2 definitions. 1, the protection granted by a nation to someone who has left their native country as a political refugee. Trump hears this all the time. They're seeking asylum. They're seeking asylum. And he thinks it means definition number 2, quote, an institution offering shelter and support to people who are mentally ill. So when he's talking about Hannibal Lecter, it's because he thinks that insane asylums are people seeking asylum. It is absolutely insane. And here's him talking about Springfield, Ohio, continually inflating the number of the amount of legal migrants who are there. Keep in mind, these Haitian migrants were legalized under the Trump administration after they expanded a federal program. And first Trump said there were 5,000. Then he said there were 10,000. Then the number was 20,000. Now it's 32,000.
Other people are coming in, and they're affecting the school systems, and they're affecting the hospital system. I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in Springfield, Ohio, a town of 50,000 people, they've just added 32,000 people, illegal immigrants, and these other people.
It's just insane. He's using Hitlerian rhetoric on stage. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is shredding Donald Trump. Let's watch our pro-democracy candidate. We love her.
Under my economic plan, and by the way, so
dude wants to talk about his plans, which really are about cutting taxes for the richest people, please do check out the Wall Street Journal or Goldman Sachs or the 16 Nobel laureates or Moody's, who have all analyzed the plans and said mine will strengthen the economy, his will make it weaker.
Boom.
Okay? So under my...
Kamala Harris is shredding these rallies, and Donald Trump is not.
Thank you, Tanya. Oh, beautiful. You look great. Thank you, darling. Also, we have many Azerasians in our room. We have some incredible people in our room. We have so many.
Azerasians. He was trying to say Arizonans, and he said Azerasians. This should be disqualifying in and of itself. If Howard Dean would have done this, do you think Howard Dean would have made it far? No.
That we just can't. But we have some people. We have some people in our room that I'm not going to mention because they fully understand why.
I hate that deep rasp in his voice. I hate that deep, like, rah, rah. Watch this.
Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yep. Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said you wanted to close with a specific song.
Okay, let's do a.
He seems quite confused on stage. Watch. He told her that he wants to close with a specific song. Now he can't remember
your
it.
song and then greet a few people, or do you want to?
He says right there, what song are you playing? You can't hear it in the mic. And I do want to point out that Donald Trump had these white chairs provided to him this entire time. Ben Meiselas points out, why do they keep giving him white chairs if they know he won't sit in them? And MeidasTouch quote tweeted that by saying, incontinence. Description, loss of control over bladder or bowel movements, effect on sitting. Anxiety or embarrassment about leakage can cause someone to avoid sitting, especially for long periods. IBS, description, a functional disorder about the large intestine, often causing cramping, bloating, diarrhea, and constipation. Effect on sitting. The discomfort from bloating or cramping may lead to avoiding prolonged sitting. That is why Donald Trump refuses to sit down. People are speculating. That may be why. Meanwhile, we have VP Harris out here absolutely shredding events. Let me play this one more clip.
Now, that there are two very different visions for our nation that are being presented to voters right now. On the one side, you've got Donald Trump, who wants to take us backward. Donald Trump, who, let's not forget, when he was renting his apartments and his property, refused to rent to black families. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump, who, as it relates to 5 young black men, they were actually teenagers and Latinos, the Central Park 5, he took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for their execution. They were innocent. Donald Trump, who referred to the first black president and suggested, remember the birtherism lies, that he couldn't have been born in the United States. Donald Trump, who in his Project 2025, you know, the various things that would happen would include allowing it or making it easier for companies to not give workers overtime pay.
Kamala Harris is not playing around. Meanwhile, on Saturday, Harris released a letter from the physician to the VP that said she, quote, possesses the physical and mental resiliency to serve as president. It also detailed specifics about her medical history and vitals and said her most recent physical was, quote, unremarkable, which is a good thing. Harris again called on Trump to release details about his health in an interview released on Monday. Quote, I put out my medical records. He won't put out his medical records, and you have to ask, why is his staff doing this? And that may be because they think he's just not ready. He's unfit. He's unstable. Trump's campaign responded to Harris's release with letters from his personal physician, Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who he has called Doc Ronnie Johnson. He didn't even know his own doctor's name, including one after the assassination attempt. But if elected, Trump would be the oldest president in history by the end of his term. If you enjoyed this video and if you appreciate what I do, drop a like, comment a blue heart, hit that subscribe button. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.